and go around this whole house. You can do laps, circuits, no need to go to the gym because you come right back again to your front door. In the vestibule area, you have lovely parquet flooring, just needs a bit of a polish. Oh my word, you have parquet flooring throughout this room. Yeah, this house is looking up as I keep looking around. Look at this window. I don't know why it doesn't actually just go down to the floor and be all open, glass, and a door to get outside. It doesn't make too much sense. In fact, it's kind of a door anyway. I know it's not the most elegant of exits, but bear with me. Yeah, see, it kind of works as a door. I'll see you on the other side. So often when I come outside, I talk about there being the potential to extend. But really, there's no need in a property like this because it's been extended already. And to the garden itself, it feels sheltered and private because you have your fences and trees. It's really nice. Is it perfect and manicured? No, but it's charming. And certainly more conventional than the downstairs layout. You've got to ask yourself, what design plans did they have that they clearly ignored? I mean, the mind boggles. 2 doors into the downstairs loo-stroke laundry with no apparent door locks. Perhaps it needs a sign. Make some noise whilst using the facilities. Just clap your hands, clap your hands. That's the idea. Upstairs, the back bedroom has some, period features? I'm saying nothing. Sometimes it's better to say something. No chimney breast downstairs, so what's supporting this in the front bedroom? And it's a bit damp, me and my big mouth. Bathroom, quite long. You've got a shower in your bath. You really need to take this out. Get a brand new bathroom suite in, could make such a difference. And then, okay, you've got a cupboard which would have originally housed one of the old-fashioned boilers, but it's redundant now. Why not think about putting a shower in there? You have a walk-in shower and a bath, and you've got wee ones. You want to bath at night, put them in the bath. Mum wants to relax. And all of a sudden, this becomes really family-friendly. Back out into the hall. What is it with these windows? They're just absolutely enormous. I'd rather that than really small windows. Frosted because you don't want to be looking into your neighbour's loo, do you? And then a bedroom which looks small, but it's really only in comparison. But this could be a stunning family home. Outside is a local estate agent we called on for his thoughts and valuations on this property, guided at £140,000 plus.
I feel to maximise the rental income for this property, I feel with having 2 separate entrances, turning it into 2 separate flats, the ground floor could easily be made into a 2-bedroom apartment, and then upstairs could easily be made into a 1-bedroom apartment.
Oh, I didn't see that one coming. Let's stick with it as a family home first.
I feel once this property's been renovated, the property would looking to achieve a resale value of between £220,000 to £230,000.
OK, 220 grand is a pretty substantial difference on the guide price of £140,000 plus. But if split into 2 flats, the agent values each at £100,000. So if buying to sell on, a family home is the best option. But when it comes to rental, it's a different story. As a home, the agent values at £900 per calendar month, whereas 2 flats...
I would imagine the rental income for this property turned into 2 flats would be in the region of £500 per calendar month per flat.
But is the additional planning of 2 kitchens and 2 bathrooms worth it? I'm going to say no. Well, this is certainly an interesting, kind of kooky property. It's a great size, but the layout downstairs, it just doesn't work. It's going to require a lot of vision, a lot of work, but given that, it could be a fantastic family home. Let's find out who saw the potential when it went under the hammer.
Lot 22 in your catalogue. Nice one to offer this. 140 is your guide. Anybody in this one at £140,000? 130. Need a bed. We'll move on if there's no beds. 130 bed, just beat you to 135, can I say? 135, 140, 145, 145, 150.
With the guide price passed, bidding continues to where we rejoin at £165,000.
165, 166, 165. Then on the aisle, it's against you, sir. Whacking at 166, 167, 168, 168. I'm selling at 167 here on the aisle for the first time. Second time, it's against you, sir. It's with you on the aisle. Third and final time. She's going. You're set. Number 5.
The top bid came from Russell, who's from this area and does property development with his wife, Catherine. Russell is a fire and security alarm engineer, and he used to be an electrician. This is his first auction purchase. So what's he going to do with his £167,000 maze? Russell, pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you. Hi.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So what sold this place to you? Was it the layout?
Not the layout, no, not so much. The price was, I think, it's sort of a come-and-get-me price. It's got potential. I think, you know, if we manage to do something with how it's set out and maybe change, you know, knock some walls down and things and maybe change that, then I think it could be a really good property for somebody, so, yeah.
Yeah, so what are your plans?
Yeah, so, firstly, we thought it probably needs a bit of curb appeal because it's pretty uninteresting from the front. So possibly build some sort of bay windows at the front to make it look a bit nicer. The wall in between the kitchen and what is the dining room now, take that out, make it one big kitchen diner with maybe some bifolding doors that open onto the garden.
Lovely.
And
well, the window is almost a door that opens onto the diner.
It is. It's huge. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So yeah, it's crying out for that. Really, you know, it would be great, and when you open it in the summer and everything, it'd be fantastic. So
yeah.
So yeah, new kitchens, new bathrooms. You know, so there's a lot of work to be done. But
keeping a toilet downstairs?
Not where it is now, but.
Still trying to get your head around the layout? Me too. But Russell remembers it being a doctor's surgery back in the day, which could explain the extra entrance and the waiting room style decor. Upstairs is much simpler, so what plans does he have afoot there?
Perhaps just convert the main bedroom that's on the back. Maybe put an ensuite on that somehow, and then look to maybe do something with the bathroom. Maybe change the front bedroom even into 2 separate bedrooms. You know, maybe split that massive, huge window, put 2 windows in. But it's all a little bit difficult just to get our heads around the layout at the minute. So it's a possibility. There's a big chimney place in the front bedroom. We'll probably take that out.
Doesn't seem to be a chimney below it.
No. The chimney should be here.
Yeah.
But it's not there. So
it's just one of the things that make this place kind of odd.
Yeah.
Really odd.
Yeah,
and what's your budget?
So budget around about 40,000.
Not bad, but don't forget there is some structural work, knocking down walls, bay windows and so on. But I wonder what Russell's structural engineer will make of what's holding up tons of chimney stack and fireplace upstairs. Remember, chimney breasts need support downstairs. Russell will do some cable work, but he's getting an electrician friend who's up to date with current regulations, no pun intended for a change, to test and connect the electrics. After refurbishment, he plans to sell on, which brings me to my final question. How quickly are you hoping to turn this place around?
Hopefully 6 months. You know, we're changing the front out, that's got to go to planning, so it could be 2 months before we do that, but there's other work we can be doing to the property, so it shouldn't slow it down too much, so I'm hoping about 6 months.
Best of luck, and I can't wait to see the results.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Russell.
Thanks.
Well, Russell might have done property renovation before, but in many respects, this is a first. This is his first auction property, and it's the first and possibly last time Russell, or anyone for that matter, will see a layout just like this. He's got a decent budget of 40 grand, but then there's an awful lot to do. Will he do it? You can find out later in the show.
This is the Merseyside town of Bootle, which has the historic Leeds and Liverpool Canal running through its centre. some terrific transport links to nearby Liverpool and significant regeneration in recent years. Bootle really lives up to its old motto of ResPK, AdsPK and ProsPK. And if you didn't get good grades in Latin, that's look to the past, the present and the future.
Future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. I gotta wear shades.
I'm in one of the many streets in Bootle that is littered with terrace houses. And you know what? Some terrace houses with some really nice period features to boot, or to Bootle. Thank you very much. Anyway, here's our house. It is a 3-bed terrace house with a guide price of 50 to 55,000. I'm going in. Nice. So you come straight in to a nice large hallway. There's another door here, which is great to keep the heat in. Stairs at the end of the hallway going up to the bedrooms, and then you're into this really large living space. There would have been a wall just here back in the day, 2 separate rooms. That door would have went into there, and I'm assuming, yes, that's where the door would have been to get into this room, and I think it works so much better as an open space. It's a lot more modern. Living here, bit of dining here, and 2 nice windows at either end. Central heating as well. They've done well, whoever done it. And down into the kitchen. And you know what? Just like the living space in there, they've extended the kitchen and they've done it really well. You get away with keeping this kitchen as is if you're going to rent this property out. You've also got some storage in there as well. This is a well-worked kitchen. You could put a breakfast bar here, you know, as well. There's that much space. And maybe down here on the floor, maybe they ran out of laminate, or did they run out of tiles? I'm not too sure. But if you've got any ideas, answers on a postcard.
Well, we walked away with a split decision.
Or you can email, or am I tempting fate? Now, before you start writing your letters in saying, that's not an extension, I didn't say that. Let me explain myself. Follow me over here. Okay, I said the kitchen had been extended, and I know that because this here was the door to the outside toilet, and the kitchen started here. So I'm right, they have extended the kitchen. Thank you very much. Mr. Dublin, out. And while I enjoy my moment, cast your eyes over the back garden here, which is a decent space. And on a day like today, it's a bonus to be able to dry your drawers. So back indoors, there are 3 bedrooms. Number 1 is a decent size, and the boiler is housed here and looks fairly new, but always have a gas safety engineer tested. Remember, you should always have an audible carbon monoxide monitor. They are relatively cheap and could save your life. Round the corner, along this long landing, bit of a step up, you've got bedroom number 2. I do like the nice high ceilings. You get a double bed in there. And right at the end, or shall I say right at the front of the property, you've got the master bedroom. High ceiling in here, loads of space, nice and bright. There isn't a lot wrong with the layout. Tidy it all up, but get yourself a lampshade. There's more than a lampshade to be sorted, but this is a house that's not going to be much of a challenge. It could be a great one for a newbie developer or someone wanting a quick turnaround. We asked along a local expert to get his thoughts on this mid-terrace guided at 50 to 55 grand.
First impressions of the property are it's in average condition. It does need some cosmetic work in terms of paint work and decoration. There is some small damp issues, but other than that, with £3,000 or £4,000, it'll be ready to sell on or let out. Rental demand in the area is very good, and it's also popular with first-time buyers.
So not quite as enthusiastic as I am, but it sounds like there's a good market for properties like this. What does he think it could be worth?
After refurbishment, the property would fetch in the region of £550 per calendar month. And on the open market for sale, we would be looking at £75,000 to £80,000.
Now, as terrace houses go, I think this one is on the larger side. You spend the right amount of money on this in this buoyant rental area, I think you could be onto a good little nest egg. Let's find out who placed that winning bid when it went under the hammer.
Let's start this one, shall we, at the lower end? Give me 50, if you will, as an opening bid. Thank you. 52 anywhere else? We're up and running at 50. Who would like to make this 52? 52, I saw 2 of you. 52, I'll go there. 54, 56, 58. 56 is where I'm at with you. I'm looking for 58 from either of you two. 57 I'm taking. 58, 59, 60. Right, the bid's behind now at 59,000. The gentleman stood up is at 59. It's against 2 of you sitting down. In the meantime, would anyone else like to now jump in at £60,000? If not, for the first time, 59,000 for the second time. I'll take a half bid if either of you nice and quick. 59 and a half, I have. 60 now to you, sir. 60, another half. Fair enough, 60,000 once, 60,000 twice, you're going to lose it. All done. Third and final time at 60. Sold to you, well done, at 60.
And that successful bidder was Joe. Joe's a part-time professional property developer and a full-time driving test examiner.
Out of my dreams, into my car.
He paid 60 grand to add this to his rental portfolio. Joe, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Congratulations, pal. Why this particular property?
The area that's an up-and-coming area. So, yeah, it wasn't actually my first choice, but I sort of know the area well, so
Okay.
ended up with this one.
Is this your manor? Is this your kind of...
Originally around these ways, not for a while, but grew up around these ways. So.
Okay. So why wasn't it your first choice? Did you have... Was there one better than this you wanted?
There was quite a few better than this. I'd gone for them, but the ceilings, the price rose too much, so I ended up with this one.
Okay. Did you go to the auction with a sort of ceiling price in mind?
No, it's different for each property.
Okay.
And then the properties that I went for, they went above what I was willing to pay. So I ended up with this, which I hadn't seen before.
Oh, so you didn't view this one?
No, this was just a spare of the moment.
Oh, you see?
Yeah.
See, we've got off on the wrong foot already, because that's one of the hammer rules broken
Well,
already.
I've seen that so many times, you know, but for the price it was worth taking the punt.
Joe took a big risk, but given his experience and knowledge of the road, it was a calculated one. Unlike getting into a car with my director,
I've been driving in my car.
that's just plain reckless. He's a terrible driver.
Yeah.
If you could give him some tips, I'd appreciate it.
I could take his licence, couldn't we? We could take his licence off him just to see, you know.
I think it'd be a lot safer for everybody else on the road, to be fair.
Everybody else, yeah.
Who's gonna drive you home tonight?
Nah, come on. It was just a joke. Don't leave me without a lift home. Anyway, while we'd never recommend buying blind, in Joe's case, it was a calculated risk. He knows the area and he's shown his experience in the auction room by setting a ceiling price on a specific property and not overbidding. But now he has this, what will he do to get it ready to rent?
We'll just take all the flooring out, take all the paperwork, the wallpaper that's on the walls, make all the, maybe plaster where it needs to do, maybe get rid of this Artex ceiling.
Yeah.
New bathroom, new kitchen. Ready to go. We usually take everything back to the brick, back to the basics, redo everything, and then get it ready for rent. Once it's done right, you don't have to revisit the property again.
So the layout's not going to change at all?
No, there's no real need to change the layout. I mean, you've got massive reception rooms here, kitchen's big enough, 3 bedrooms, standard rental property.
Was it a surprise to you? Because, you know, I think this is a great area to live in.
Yeah, it's not it was a lot better than I imagined it. I did think it would be a shell, but I'm pleasantly surprised. There doesn't seem to be too much that needs doing, so I think it'll be plain sailing.
Okay. And what is the market like around here then for the rental?
Absolutely booming at the moment.
Is it?
Absolutely booming. Yeah.
Is that because you've got all the property?
No, I think it's just becoming a popular place to live. It's quite close to the city centre, and it's got good transport links.
And unfortunately, Everton will be moving here soon, so it might decrease the value.
Oh, okay. I'm guessing you're a red then.
Well, there's only 2 teams in Liverpool reserves. So.
Thanks, Joe. Now we've lost half of our Merseyside viewing fans. If only there was a way to get them back on side. Got any ideas, Sean? Anyway, it's worth checking out if there are up-and-coming plans for the area before you buy. Regeneration or new transport links could drive prices up, making things ideal for investment. But equally, unsightly developments could have a negative effect on price. So it's worth finding out everything you can. Now we know Joe's plans, the big money question. What's your budget?
Around 5 to 7.
Okay. And what about your timescale? How long is it going to take to turn it round?
3-4 weeks.
Is that all?
Yeah, I'll have it rented out. Well, I'll have people moved in within 4 weeks.
Would you really? That's amazing. So will you get back to the auction house as soon as possible? Have you got enough on?
Yeah, at the end of the month. There'll be purchasing something at the end of the month.
Wow.
So
That's
keep rolling.
That's a quick turnaround, Joe, isn't it?
It is. Well, it's easy enough to do.
Listen, I wish you all the best. Hope it works out for you, Joe.
Cheers, thanks.
Cheers,
Turn up.
So it's just another one to add to Joe's ever-growing rental portfolio. And you know what? I think he got away with not viewing the property this time. Right, 5 to 7 grand, I think it's a healthy budget. 4 to 6 weeks to do the working, I'm not too sure. But I could be wrong. Stay tuned and you'll find out how he gets on.
Coming up, we return to Woodville, Derbyshire, where I first saw a field perfect for picnics and grazing goats.
I'm joking with you. It's a plot of land.
And at this 3-bed mid-terrace in Bootle, Merseyside, we find out if driving examiner Joe passes his practical refurbishment test.
Back to Lancashire now and the town of Penwortham, where I visited this 3-bedroom detached house earlier in the show. It had 2 front doors and was thought to have been used as a doctor's surgery back in the day, which could explain the strange circular layout of the many downstairs rooms. But there was an even stranger addition to what I thought was the old kitchen of the house. A toilet in your kitchen. So, you know, on the plus side, if you're stuck for time, if you don't think there's enough hours in the day, you could wash the dishes at the same time as sitting on the toilet. It was bought by Russell for 167 grand with the view of doing it up and selling it on. He wanted to add a more attractive frontage to the house by installing a bay window. And he was planning some extensive internal structural changes too.
The wall in between the kitchen and what is the dining room now, take that out, make it one big kitchen diner, with maybe some bifolding doors that open onto the garden. So yeah, new kitchens, new bathrooms, you know, so there's a lot of work to be done, but...
Keeping a toilet downstairs?
Not where it is now, but...
There was a large, apparently supported fireplace and chimney breast in the front damp bedroom. The middle bedroom was more of a box room. And the bathroom spoke for itself in a 1970s accent. Russell's original timescale was 6 months. We're back 10 months later. The biggest change to the internal flow of the house was to get rid of the front door, giving a clear direction of entry.
Everyone knows all about my direction.
It makes for a much more harmonious interior.
There's melody and harmony for you and me tonight.
I think the pictures speak for themselves, so I'll shut up and let Mr. Timberlake and Mr. Stapleton play their tune.
Say something. I don't wanna get caught up in the rhythm of it.
Oh well, if you insist, JT. The removal of the old front door and addition of a bay window transforms the lounge space. There's another access door down the other side of the property with a small utility room off it.
Caught up in the rhythm of it.
The right-angle stairs make the most of the downstairs space. Upstairs, the bathroom's not moved. And the back bedroom benefits from an ensuite. The middle front bedroom now has a built-in wardrobe space. And it turned out that the main front bedroom chimney was supported with concrete steelwork. And finally, downstairs, a new small office has been squeezed in.
Sometimes the greatest way to say something is to say nothing.
We've done absolutely everything to this building. New plaster, new kitchens, new bathrooms, new heating, new plumbing, new electrics, absolutely everything. The only thing we haven't really done that much to is the original floor in the kitchen, and even then we've sanded it back and varnished it and brought it back to life.
The hardest of the jobs was at the front of the house.
The bay window. It's cost a lot of money, but we really think it's worth it. It's made a huge difference. Everybody in the area has said, wow, what a great job. So we're really pleased.
There were plans to look into splitting the front bedroom into two to make a 4-bedroom house. Why was that decided against?
It was due to planning permission more than anything. It could be converted at a later date, but we decided to leave it as a 3.
Russell was budgeting 40 grand to do the works, optimistic given the structural work that was being undertaken, some of which would involve propping up the front of the house. Plus, Russell and his wife Catherine arrived at the budget before consulting their architect. So how have the outgoings actually been?
Before we started any work, my wife Catherine and I sat down with the architect and we worked out where we were going to go, what sort of things we could do with the building. We realised that we have to spend a little bit more, so we actually spent 60,000. So we've come in a bit more than we were originally going to spend, but we think that the finish and everything that we've done will bring us more return, so hopefully.
We'll get to the potential return shortly. Russell's always been renovating to list and sell on. Any new lessons learned on the property?
We've done previous builds before, and I think every time you do one, you learn a bit different, something else. If it's building materials and how much they cost, or about stamp duty when you're buying a second home. You know, you've got to get your numbers right to make sure that you know, you're going to make money at the end of the day. Well, that's what it's about.
We called in a couple of estate agents to get their opinions and to see if Russell got his numbers right. He bought for £167,000 and has spent 60 grand on it.
First impressions of the property are very impressive. It's quite clear the owner spent a lot of money getting a very good quality finish throughout.
Standard of finish is extremely high. Fixtures and finishings are really, really beautiful, and it would appeal to everyone.
Russell and Catherine have invested £227,000 into the project. Were the numbers right? It's the moment of truth.
On the open market, this property would likely to achieve around about £280,000.
I would say the property on the open market would be worth £275,000.
Happy with that, Russell?
Yeah, I think they're really good. They're in the ballpark figure of what we were looking for. We've actually accepted an offer for £283,000.
Just what the doctor ordered from this former surgery. A profit of 56 grand before taxes and expenses. Any plans for future treatments?
It's about getting something that's right for us in the right location, and yeah, we'll look forward to doing something soon.
And any advice to anyone wanting to follow in their footsteps?
Just consider all the key points: auction costs, solicitors' fees, stamp duty, and building material does cost a lot more than people think it does. So make sure you get your numbers right, and then go from there.
Well, all I can say is good luck with the repeat prescriptions.
It was back in the summer of 2016 in the village of Woodville, near Swadlincote, Derbyshire, where I first visited an unconventional lot.
Bit of grass. Nice, isn't it? Got an over-enthusiastic hamster, guinea pig. No, hamsters don't eat grass, do they? Rabbit, goat, perfect for it. I'm joking with you. It's a plot of land. No kidding, Martin. Yes, it's a plot of land that you could build on because it's got outline planning permission. Ooh, that's exciting. Let's explore.
But I was wary of the keyword outline. Yes, it had boosted the land value to £95,000 plus, but potential buyers had to be careful. They mustn't fall into the trap of thinking...
Whoopie-doodle-doo. Nah, it doesn't work like that. Outline planning permission is basically an architect and a planner has gone to the local authority and said, look, what we're thinking about here is putting on, let's say, 3 houses onto this plot. They'll be roughly detached, they'll be roughly in keeping with the area, but we're not going to tell you what they look like. What do you think about the principle? In principle, is that OK? And that could be the beginning and the end of the outline planning permission, as simple as that. Yeah, in principle, you can have 3 houses here.
Plus, there were other factors that helped the appeal of the plot. There was already existing road access to the site, and services like gas, electricity and sewage would likely be close by. But detailed plans had yet to be submitted, listing types of brick, roof tiles, etc., to check that they were in keeping with the area. If passed, the future occupier would be able to say that beneath the house's foundations lay...
the green, green grass of home.
Well, £95,000 plus would be a lot of money to spend on what is basically a bit of grass. Unless, of course, you look at the fact that it's got that outline planning permission. That makes all the difference.
Well, when it came to the auction, it made a heck of a difference.
Phil started me off on the guide of 95. 90, bid me, 88, 87, 86, 86,000 £86,000 we're away, £86,000, 87 I need.
And after a steady start, we rejoined the bidding at 121,000.
121 and a half, and a half, 122 and a half, no. At £122,000, a lady's bid at the back of the room for the first time, for the second time, for the third and final time. The hammer's up, it goes at £122,000, sold, bidder number 66. Thank you.
The hammer fell at 122,000, the top bid having come from husband and wife team Ali and Steve. We met up so I could find out their plan for the plot.
Tell me why you wanted to buy this plot of land, then.
To make some money.
Right, well, that's a good enough reason. Right, well, good luck with that.
Ali and Steve were sticking broadly to the outline plans for 2 small 3-beds and a larger 4-bed detached. Being a small family business would mean building one property first, then selling it to fund the rest of the development. In an ideal world, they hoped to possibly sell the other 2 plots off plan. However, selling on a building site can put some buyers off. But cash flow would be key to Steve and his team's workflow.
So it's just, yeah.
So what's the budget for the builds?
To do all 3, probably be somewhere in the region of 350, I would have thought.
Right, so about 110 per property, although some of them are bigger than others, aren't they?
Yeah.
But that wasn't all. There was another cost which had to be paid to the council.
So there's 30k to pay there.
To do what?
It's just a provision that we have to pay on the sale of the first property.
Was that in the legal pack?
Yeah, that was in the legal pack, yeah.
3 guesses to what my response was to that. Where's my old script? Oh, yeah, here it is. Reading the legal pack is essential. And it was, to the tune of 30 grand. But thanks to Steve and Ali's diligence, they were not caught out. They had also got plans drawn up and were hoping for a 2 to 3 month approval and a further 5 months to then build the largest 4-bedroomed house. Former fashion buyer Ali retrained as an interior designer when the children came along, hence my next question.
So what interiors are these going to be like then?
Oh, don't know yet, because by the time we get them out of the ground, everything will probably have moved on and changed. But I think the key is to keep it very fresh looking, very light, and essentially trying to appeal to everybody, so nothing too quirky.
OK.
Yeah, we'll be counting stars.
We returned for the first time 1 year later. Ali and Steve were counting their lucky stars that planning had been passed. House number 1 was ready to go on the market. And as part of that order came bifolding doors and luxurious quartz worktops.
it out and ye shall find.
There was a utility room, a must with open plan in my view. It keeps the view of laundry contained and cuts out washing machine noise. There was a downstairs loo too. At the front of the house there was a large lounge with a bay window and a smaller room across the hall, flexible as a TV room or fourth bedroom. The quality of finish speaks for itself, and it didn't come cheap.
Everything that kills me makes me feel alive. I've been losing sleep.
Upstairs, the master bedroom had a good ensuite, plus a large family bathroom. The remaining 3 bedrooms were well proportioned, and Ali's dressing of the rooms shows that she knew a thing or two about making the best of an interior.
I kind of try and go around the property and inject a bit of colour and put a bit of a feel in it so that people can visualise themselves living here, really. And it's an excuse for me to have a bit of fun and unleash my creative spirit that I don't get to do through a build when you're dealing with the utilities and the planning teams.
Speaking of utilities, there were problems installing them, and groundworks meant that things took a little longer than expected. But the foundations were in for the next 2 detached houses. Steve and his team of 4 had built from top to bottom using their regular subcontractors for specialist gas and electrical work, but the couple had found it hard going.
You put the kids to bed and then you're in the office, which obviously is trying to keep that work-life balance and make sure that you're not sat at breakfast talking about stuff on site all the time. That's probably the main difficulty.
Sometimes it's hard to switch off, isn't it? But,
yeah.
Steve and Ali had invested money across the entire site on things like services and planning fees. They were on track with their 350 grand budget, but the show house had cost £180,000 to build. What was it going to be worth on the sales market?
If I was looking to place the property on the market, I would expect it to achieve £290,000.
I would suggest an asking price of about £300,000.
when trying to remove the textured paint on them. It's the main reason for Joe's overrun. That and the replastering of the walls downstairs. Now, in a little while, I'm going to ask you to change direction, but you won't get upstairs in this car, so we're going to change to a 4x4 automatic. I'd like you now to reverse park into the back bedroom, which used to look like this. Careful, careful! I have to mark that down as a minor fault. Observation now. Can you tell me what's happened to the middle bedroom? Yep, besides the new ceiling, it's had a paint job and a freshen up. Eyesight test now. I suppose we should have done this one before we set off. Can you tell me what sort of screws are in the door handle? No? How about now? Yes, that's right. The 45-degree tick marks mean it's a posi drive, sometimes mistaken for a Phillips. Schoolboy error. You must always use the correct combination of crosshead recessed screws with its complementary screwdriver. Not doing so can result in a serious fail. Like this. Eagle-eyed viewers will spot that the bathroom is a foot wider than it was. Joe will be along later to explain why. But in the meantime, I can tell you that he's passed his practical project management test. So, what's it like to have the tables turned on you, Joe?
Now it's all finished, it's great to just get out of the property and get it rented and not have to come back here again.
Yeah, I felt just the same when I passed my test. I just didn't want to go back. Are you pleased with the project, though?
Took a bit of a gamble on this one and I think it's paid off.
Well, we'll be able to find out in a minute, but first, did you have any problems with the refurbishment?
We had a bit of a trouble with the bathroom. When we took the bath out, we had dry rot on the walls, so we had to extend the wall into the second bedroom just to give us a little bit more room to fit the bath in.
Was there any acceleration in the £5 to £7 grand budget forecast?
I went over the original budget by about £1,500, but that's due to moving walls and excess plastering that we didn't foresee.
To get the views of two local estate agents, we called these two examiners in. Joe paid 60 grand at auction and took his £5 to £7 grand budget forecast up to 8.5 grand. There's still just some carpet to be put down, otherwise it's finished.
The main selling point of the property is it's been refurbished to a high standard, so new kitchen, new bathroom, and the decor throughout is nice and fresh. I wouldn't have done anything different myself.
As far as selling the property would be concerned, it's in a nice central position in this road. It's a popular, lettable locality. With regard to the standard of finish, obviously the job is not entirely finished yet, but I can see clearly that the owner looks to me as though he's done this before. He's perhaps a seasoned landlord, he knows what he's doing, he's not overspending, he's preparing it very nicely.
Joe's adding this to his portfolio, so what kind of rental could he expect?
A tenant would be keen to pay around 500, 480, 480 pounds per month, roughly.
On the rental market, the property would achieve £550 per calendar month.
The top one sounds more reasonable, as I've already got it rented out for £550 per calendar month.
Just under a 10% yield. Joe's experience does shine through with a total spend of 68.5 grand. So is there a profit?
If the property was to be put on the market, I would suggest an asking price of £80,000.
I would see no problem in achieving £78,000.
Taking the top figure, that's a pre-tax and expenses profit of 11.5 grand. What do you think, Joe?
I think they're a bit low, as there's already properties in the area selling for around 85 to 95.
Any further property manoeuvres going forward?
We've actually purchased 3 more properties, so we're just continuing on.
Well, Joe, I hope you don't exceed any spending limits. And I think I'm happy to say, when it comes to this particular manoeuvre, you've passed with flying colours, young man.
Time to return to Woodville, Derbyshire now, to see how this small development developed. It was the sale of this new 4-bedroom home that would raise the funds for owners of the family building firm Steve and Ali to continue with their plans to build 2 3-bed detached. The agents valued the 4-bedroom plot between £290,000 and £320,000.
We put the property top end of those, so that gives us an option, obviously, to look to take offers if we need to.
They had originally bought the building plot for £122,000, with outline planning permission for the 3 houses. So that cost, like the cost of getting in services and groundworks, would be absorbed in 3 buildings. But Ali and Steve needed a quick sale in order to bankroll and continue work on site. We're back for the last time 10 months later to see the progress. Steve and Ali have bought the project home, although it's taken them twice as long as they'd anticipated. The houses are very similar, so we'll concentrate on plot 2, the one on the right. It has a high-spec kitchen, living, dining area full of alleys in coordination, plus fully. The kitchens in the 2 houses are ceramic worktops, but both have the ever-popular bifold doors, and at this plot, the downstairs loo is opposite the lounge at the front. Upstairs and bedroom and an ensuite shower room. Both houses have been up-spec'd with insulation above building standard requirements. Systems should keep energy bills low. At the top of the stairs, there's the family bathroom with a P-shaped bath and shower above. At 2.9 by 3.45 metres, bedroom 2 is another double. That's 9'6" by 11'3" in old money. Time for just a few more bars, Ariana. Both houses enjoy enclosed gardens, and plot 3 has different worktops and a small study games room opposite the lounge. So why did it take them 10 months?
The services went in really well, really, apart from the drains, and they were quite a fair way down the road. So obviously the road was up, causing a bit of chaos for a week or so. But apart from that, everything else went really well.
Steve and Ali had managed the drainage perfectly well on their land, but outside contractors working for the utility company went to the wrong area to connect up. It appears following utility maps is not always straightforward.
You can't always rely on the maps that you see at the beginning of the build. I think there was probably an extra 100 metres that needed to be taken into account.
So that caused a delay of being able to put the first house on the market.
We did come off site for a period about 6 or 7 months ago while we waited for, obviously, to get an offer. Luckily, that came through fairly quickly and we were able to then get back on site. We did take a bit of a gamble coming on a few months early just to take advantage of some weather and Steve's schedule. But luckily, the sale went through without any complications.
Another delay was the weather. It's not always kind on a building site, as this photo of Steve building fences